Greetings again, beloveds, and greetings to those watching this later online. We're so glad that you're choosing to watch, and if it's at all possible, we invite you to come and be with us in person because we are a loving community and are just waiting for you to come and be with us so we can welcome you and support you in any way that you would like to be supported. And if you're watching online, and if you're just here too with us in person, I do encourage you to give a subscribe to our YouTube channel, Unity of Tempe. It really helps to grow that. Give us a like or give us a comment if you're liking these messages. That helps us so much. So today we begin a new series, Let Healing Begin. Let healing happen. Let healing happen. I said begin. Who is ready for healing to begin? Yes. Who's got some things, either physical, emotional, spiritual, mental, anything that they want to heal right now? A lot of us are actually going through physical things right now. It is very, very interesting. But during this series, we're going to journey together through one of Unity's most beloved books, How to Let God Help You by Myrtle Fillmore. And MGM, you're back just in time because I know this is one of your favorites. Actually, this book is not a traditional book in the series of it follows. It's a beginning, a middle, and an end. It is a compilation of Myrtle Fillmore's writings. And I'm not going to cover the book in its entirety by any means, or even in order, but instead I'm going to use it as our guide as we explore healing in its many forms and how Myrtle's insights can support us in navigating healing and life in 2025. So today we're going to look at 3 concepts and how they can assist us in whatever we're desiring to have healed. But first, though, we're going to watch a short video that was created by Unity on Myrtle Fillmore. And you may have seen this video before, and that is okay because it's always wonderful to watch this again.
She's known as Myrtle Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity along with her husband Charles Fillmore. But she was born Mary Carolyn Page on August 6, 1845, the 7th of 9 children. As a child, she adopted the name Myrtle and would later reject the teachings of her strict religious parents. Ever since she was a little girl, Myrtle had been sick. At a young age, she contracted tuberculosis. For many years, she believed she was incurably weak and sickly.
I had all the ills of mind and body that I could bear. Medicine and doctors ceased to give me relief, and I was in despair.
That was until Myrtle discovered new spiritual ideas and principles we now call Unity. The year was 1886, and Myrtle was in her early 40s. She and her husband Charles attended a lecture by metaphysician Dr. E.B. Weeks of Chicago. Myrtle left the talk with a stronger faith and an understanding of her innate divine potential for healing through affirmative prayer.
It flashed upon me that I might talk to the life in every part of my body and have it do just what I wanted. I began to teach my body and got marvelous results.
Instead of seeing her body as weak, inefficient, and diseased, she began speaking words of strength and power to every part of her body: her liver, stomach, abdomen, limbs, eyes, and heart.
I didn't get discouraged at their being slow to wake up, but kept right on, both silently and aloud, declaring words of truth until they did respond. And neither did I forget to tell them that they were free, unlimited spirit. I told them they were the centers of life and energy, omnipresent.
Myrtle began regularly affirming,
I am a child of God, and therefore I do not inherit sickness.
By repeating this affirmation, Myrtle believed she was going to get better. And 2 years later, she did. In 1888, she was healed of the tuberculosis condition that had threatened her life. Myrtle remained committed to blessing and encouraging her body with true thoughts and words.
I became very watchful as to what I thought and said. I didn't let any worried or anxious thoughts into my mind. And I stopped speaking gossipy, frivolous, petulant, angry words.
Myrtle was excited by her healing discovery, and so were her family and friends. She began working with others in need of healing. In time, her husband Charles Fillmore began his own practice of prayer and meditation. He began to heal from an ice skating accident he had at age 10. In 1889, inspired by Myrtle's transformation, the Fillmores founded the Unity Movement in Kansas City, Missouri, as a healing ministry based on the power of prayer and the power of thoughts to create reality. In 1890, the couple pioneered a prayer outreach that grew into Silent Unity, the 24-hour, 7-day-a-week prayer ministry that still serves the world today.
I want everybody to know about this beautiful, true law and to use it. It is not a new discovery, but when you use it and get the fruits of health and harmony, it will seem new to you, and you will feel that it is your own discovery.
Myrtle Fillmore made her transition on August 6, 1931, at age 86. Her work lives on through Silent Unity and the inspiring manuscripts and personal papers in the Myrtle Fillmore collection at the Unity Library and Archives. The collection is being digitized for online access. To learn more or help support this effort, visit unity.org.
So I wonder what resonated most for you in watching that video. Of course, there is the expression, I am a child of God, and therefore I do not inherit sickness. That is a profound one that we say a lot in Unity. But for me, as I was looking at that, one phrase really stood out, and that was the phrase, declaring words of truth. And that is where we'll begin as we step into Myrtle's writings. And truth is our first concept. And now, to be clear, in Unity, truth isn't about ignoring facts or science. We absolutely honor science, medicine, facts, doctors, and the brilliant minds behind them. It seems really strange that I have to say that, but it's 2025 and I need to say that. So when Myrtle talks about declaring words of truth, she is actually talking about spiritual truth, the truth that reminds us who we truly are, that we are expressions of divine life, and that love and wisdom and wholeness already exists and lives within us, even when life feels really messy or uncertain. And it means using our words, our choices, our presence, our prayers to align with that inner truth. And it's not about pretending everything is fine. It's about remembering who we are spiritually. Now, we've all been taught that we're the children of our physical parents, and of course, that is true. And we may have picked up some of their traits, some of their habits, some of their beliefs, some of their ways of seeing the world. And over time, as we've grown up and we've had our own adult lives, we may have decided some of those beliefs and habits don't serve us, and so we've gotten rid of them. And others we may have held on to. But there is a much deeper truth, one that Myrtle Fillmore reminds us of again and again. And that is, beyond biology and upbringing, we are God's children. And that means that we're constantly being gifted with wisdom and love and strength and life and abundance. And that's not from the outside, but that is from within. And that isn't just a nice idea. It's actually truth with a capital T. And it's the spiritual reality that underlies everything. And Myrtle reminds us that when we talk about truth, we're naming what's always true of God. And that what is true of God is true of us also, because we are expressions of that same divine life. So when we say each week, and I know what are we gonna say? What do we say every week to remind us that we are beloved? Let's say it together. I am a beloved child of God, here to be an ambassador of good. So when we're saying that, we're not just giving lip service and kind of going unconscious. Oh, here it is. I'm saying this again. No, it's a spiritual reality that we're invited to live into at moment by moment. And Myrtle Fillmore says, you can read it with me, from God, we have inherited a perfect mind, which is capable of unfolding wonderful Christ qualities as Jesus unfolded his God mind. We have inherited a perfect mind, capable of unfolding wonderful Christ qualities. And Myrtle doesn't say those Christ qualities are already fully formed in us and that we don't have to do anything, like we can just sit around at home, eat bonbons or whatever we choose to eat at that moment. And no, she says, and we know that we have to do our part to unfold these divine qualities. That's why every other year we teach in service about the 12 powers. And every time we teach those, we strengthen into those. And Myrtle goes on to say, and you can read this with me, as we realize that we are God's children and that God, I can't hear you. As we realize that we are God's children and that God is the very intelligence within us, we discover that health is also our inheritance from the Father. We learn there is a divine law in life that makes for health, happiness, and prosperity if we choose to live by it. That is so powerful. So I made a little affirmation for us of the key things in this, and we're going to say this, as Sandra would say, with gusto. And if you see me moving around right now, because I can't stand still too much, because I'm doing my own healing, and it requires me not to stay in one place, because I got a little sciatica I'm working on healing up right now. So let us say together, health is my inheritance. Happiness is my inheritance. Prosperity is my inheritance. One more time. Health is my inheritance. Happiness is my inheritance. Prosperity is my inheritance. Now, whichever one you're working on, maybe you're working on all three, I want you to put your hand over your heart for the one that you're really calling in right now. So let's do it together. Health is my inheritance. Happiness is my inheritance. Prosperity is my inheritance. Wonderful. Now, many people come to unity at first because they're looking for something that helps them navigate life. They want to feel better, live better, and understand life in a deeper way. And maybe it starts with them coming to unity because they want healing, or they want happiness, or a sense of abundance. And then, if they stick around, they discover that unity teaches something powerful, that these aren't just things that we chase. They're actually spiritual qualities we can align with. Because there is a divine pattern of wholeness already within each of us. And when we learn how to work with spiritual principles, life begins to shift for us. And it doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen magically, but it happens meaningfully. And that's what Myrtle Fillmore understood so well, and that's what we're going to be exploring in this series. And that leads us to the second concept, and that is the purpose of life. Myrtle says the real purpose of your life is to express the creation of God, to unfold the many departments of your mind which God has planned for you and which will enable you to know and do His will. Now, I know there's a lot of His and Father, and if that's not your cup of tea, make it into a genderless expression of God, which is what we really believe in unity in this day. But this was when Myrtle wrote it. So this is one of those quotes that at first glance you may say, yeah, that's nice, I get it. But when we look at it deeper and we pause with it and we sit with it and read it again and truly let it soak in, it opens up something deeper within us. To unfold the many departments of your mind which God has planned for you. That's a pretty spectacular purpose. It means you, me, all of us are here to keep growing, to let Spirit guide us into new ways of thinking, new ways of unfolding, new ways of feeling, new ways of being. And as we do this, we begin to understand what it means to live in alignment with divine will. Now, you might be wondering, in 2025, we're in September of 2025, that's great. But right now, what is my purpose? What am I supposed to do? What's next for me? And Myrtle reminds us clarity doesn't come always. It doesn't always come always at once. It's revealed as we do our part, staying present, listening, and allowing our Christ mind to unfold. And it is a journey, and it's kind of given to us on a need-to-know basis. We get what we need to know for what is next. And it's said that the purpose of our life is to express the creation of God. But what does that mean for you personally, to express the creation of God? Well, I can't answer that for you. And honestly, no one else can answer that for you either. Because the only person within you that can answer that is the Spirit within you. That is who to go to and ask. Because the way the divine creation expresses within each of us is so amazingly, beautifully unique. So, beloveds, if you ever find yourself comparing yourself to anyone else, stop it. Stop it right now. Because your divine purpose is to be uniquely you, not anyone else, and to follow your own unique path. What I do know for you is that this is a time to keep growing and healing, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, to stay open to what's unfolding within you, to keep listening and showing up as the living expression of God that you already are. And maybe you've been wondering, where are my gifts most needed at this moment? What projects feel purposeful? What feels meaningful? Maybe even financially supportive? And sometimes that answer isn't immediately obvious. Sometimes the right place is sitting in the silence, or it's being in prayer, or it's in writing, or it's a heartfelt conversation with someone that you truly trust. Or maybe it's any of those that God's guidance comes through. Maybe it's something completely unexpected. Now, I don't know about you, beloveds, but mostly I'm a pretty patient person. But when it comes to my own, where I'm supposed to be on the earth and what I'm supposed to be doing, I can get kind of impatient about that. Well, God, where am I supposed to be right now? I want to be on track with the purpose of my life and why I've been sent here. And that's where Myrtle's wisdom gives me hope and grace. And she reminds us that part of our life's purpose is the unfolding of our mind. That clarity comes as we grow, as we open, as we listen. And whenever we get impatient with ourselves, we can remember that part of the purpose is to learn to be in the question, to learn to be in the mystery, something we sometimes don't want to do. I want it now. I want it now, immediately, now, right now, please. And it's learning to be in that space. And that brings us to the third concept, which is waking up. All of us, sooner or later, this is a Myrtle quote, come to the place in our development when we are no longer satisfied to go on living the old life without the knowledge of our oneness with God, the source of our being. Sometimes when we reach this point in our soul's progress, we do not know at first what is taking place. We can become restless and dissatisfied, and we may go through experiences which we do not understand. Oh my goodness, I think collectively on the planet we're going through that experience right now. Experiences what we do not understand right now. But this phrase feels especially pertinent at this moment. And so much feels uncertain, so much beyond our control. And so many people are suffering, overwhelmed, and angry. And Myrtle, in her gentle wisdom, says, and I love this so much, suffering is one of the ways of drawing the attention of the soul back to its beautiful temple. I thought of you, Joe, as I created this little slide. I'm like, Joe will really like this, a little Buddha and the lotus in there. Yes. And it's just so true, because when everything's going swimmingly for us, we often are like, I'm doing fine. When things aren't, we're often deeper into our prayer, deeper into our spiritual practices, right? Yes. But this whole thing, this whole idea of what Myrtle says here, it's not to punish us. It is simply to wake us up, to remind us that healing begins when we return to the truth of who we are, to remind us that when we see and hear of suffering and turmoil and chaos, we are called to reimagine what we would like to see, not only in our own lives, but also in the world. And beloveds, if that's not the immediate place you go to right now when you watch the news, give yourself a break. Because the world, the US, it's a lot right now. But the truth is that many are awakening through this time of turmoil. And they are asking big questions like, what am I here to do? How can I make a difference? And what is mine to heal? And so the concept of waking up reminds me of the lyrics of a song, you know, I couldn't get through a message without throwing in some lyrics. And we're not going to hear this particular song today. I just want to share a few of the lyrics. It was originally sung by Harold and the Blue Notes way back in the day. And here are the lyrics. Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed, no more backward thinking, time for thinking ahead. The world has changed so very much from what it used to be. There's so much hatred, war, and poverty. Wake up, all the teachers, time to teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen to what you have to say. They're the ones who are coming up, and the world is in their hands. When you teach the children, teach them the very best you can. The world won't get no better if we just let it be. The world won't get no better. We got to change it, yeah. Just you and me. Great song. So especially at this time, it's crucial that we wake up the Christ within us, because healing isn't just about feeling better. And it isn't just about every situation suddenly being resolved. It is about remembering our wholeness. It's about reclaiming our divine identity and letting that truth shape how we live, how we love, and how we show up in the world. So if you're uncertain or exhausted, take heart, because you're not alone. You're in process. You're in the unfolding, and healing is happening in you. Keep listening. Keep opening, and let that healing happen. And so we're going to anchor this message today with a chant from Karen Drucker. And I want to thank Ron because he set it to a video which is perfect, very different to other videos we have. And the first word in this chant is joy. And you may think, I don't feel overly joyful at this time. But I want you to remember that joy is not the external. Joy is the presence and the essence of God expressing in us. Happiness is something different, but joy is the essence of God in us. So I want you to learn this chant. Some of you already know it. And then as it grows on you, sing along with it. Chant it for yourself and for each other. And let your joyful essence shine and let healing happen.
Joy fills every cell in my body. Every cell is alive with love. I relax into the healing process. I allow Spirit to do what it does. Joy fills every cell in my body. Every cell is alive with love. I relax into the healing process. I allow Spirit to do what it does. Joy fills every cell in my body. Every cell is alive with love. I relax into the healing process. I allow Spirit to do what it does. Peace fills every cell in my body. Every cell is alive with love. I relax into the healing process. I allow Spirit to do what it does. God fills every cell in my body. Every cell is alive with love. I relax into the healing process. I allow Spirit to do what it does. God fills every cell in my body. Every cell is alive with love. I relax into the healing process. I allow Spirit to do what it does. Joy fills every cell in my body. Every cell is alive with love. I relax into the healing process. I allow Spirit to do what it does. Joy fills every cell in my body. Every cell is alive with love. I relax into the healing process. I allow Spirit to do what it does. Joy fills every cell in my body. Every cell is alive with love. I relax into the healing process. I allow Spirit to do what it does. Joy fills every cell in my body. Every cell is alive with love. I relax into the healing process. I allow Spirit to do what it does. Joy fills every cell in my body, and I am alive. I relax into the healing process.
Such a great chant for healing. And we're going to continue to use that somewhere in our service, maybe here at the end of the message during this series. So hopefully you'll get to know it and you'll feel less shy about singing it. Because if we really want healing, we have to take part in our healing. And I know some who are having surgeries that have had to do a lot to prepare for their healing. And I'm not going to name any names or say what they've had to do, but I know that they're actively taking part. We have to take part in our own bodily healing and our own emotional, spiritual, and mental. And I really believe that chanting is a part of that. Whether we're chanting to a video or whatever we're chanting to, I do believe that's a part of it. So now let us say together with gusto, I am a beloved child of God, here to be an ambassador of good. Yes, we are. And so it is time for our financial gifts, to share our financial gifts. These support Unity of Tempe. This is how we exist and how we operate here, completely by donations. So we're so grateful that you give, and remember that this is a tithe to your spiritual community and wellness and wholeness. And so let us say together, I am a joyful sharer of my good. I remember that as I give, I receive, and that God is my source. Thank you. And thank you, Sandra and Karen, for doing those today. If you prefer to give on Zelle, here is our QR code. And we prefer Zelle, but we also accept PayPal. We're so grateful, Divine Spirit. We remember that as we give, we do indeed receive. We remember that we cannot outgive Spirit. We're so grateful, so grateful for the gifts and the blessings in our life, and for our friends and our spiritual family here at Unity of Tempe. And thank you, those watching online also. Thank you, Karen. And thank you, Sandra. We bless these gifts. We bless the giver and the receiver and the stewardship of their use. Thank you indeed so much. I want to remind you that you are loved, you belong, and that community matters. And I encourage you to invite someone here who could use a little light. And join us next Sunday as we continue this series. Did you get something out of today? The first one about healing. Yeah. And so it's not just physical healing, it's all aspects of healing in ourselves. I want to remind you that, or let you know that Unity World Day of Prayer is coming up, and you can take a picture of this if you want to join online. And next week I will have some things from this World Day of Prayer that I'll probably share in service as well. And this continues all day Thursday through Thursday 9/11 as well. So let us now pray the prayer that we've been praying each week. Let me just find it here. Okay, let us take a deep breath. Spirit, I am present. I do not ignore the ache of this world, but I also do not collapse. I acknowledge pain without losing sight of hope. I receive what I need to know, and I release what I cannot carry alone. If there is wisdom to glean, I accept it. If there is action to take, I am willing. If today asks only for compassion, I give it freely to myself and others. In a confusing world, I choose to stay awake, anchored in spirit, guided by love. And together we'll say our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. All is well, and we are grateful. Beloveds online, we look forward to seeing you again, either online or in person. Namaste.